everyone. In this video, I want to talk about the books that I hope to read in November. I'm a really big mood reader, so it's kind of hard to predict what books I will want to read. I have compiled a list of books that I really truly do want to try and get to this month. I know I won't get to all of them, like that's for sure. And I might even switch some books out and substitute and not even read half of the books on this list, but that's okay. Like this is just kind of like for fun. I don't pressure myself to read a specific book at a specific time unless it's for like, you know, like a book club or something. Then that, for me, that's fun and I do look forward to and enjoy reading along with other people, so that's different. But I don't put pressure on myself to read the books that I really wanted to read that month, you know what I mean? So this is kind of just a list for fun, and some I do have to kind of get to more immediately if I want to read them, because 2 of these are actually library books, so I mean I only get to keep them for like 21 days. So yeah, so one of the first books that is on my list is actually a book I had meant to read last month for like the Halloween spooky season. I mean, for me, spooky season and Halloween is just an everyday thing. Like I love it. I live, breathe, eat, sleep horror, so it's just more special to read it, of course, in the actual spooky season in October. But I mean, you know, things happen, and I've been having a lot of migraines lately, so it's making it so hard for me to read. Like I just can't even, I feel like I can't even see, like, to read and then comprehend. I was a mess in October, so I'm hoping that this month I won't have as many headaches so I can like physically read more. I've been really relying on audiobooks the last couple of months just because my headaches are so bad. Let's hope that this month, no headaches, more physical reading, we can do it. First book is a library book that I had meant to read last month, which is Ray Bradbury's Something Wicked This Way Comes. I have read this book before and I really liked it. It's about a carnival that shows up in Greentown, Illinois, and kind of all of these 2 boys who want to see what the shadow show is all about, and they get a lot more than they bargain for. So it was really good. And after reading Halloween Tree, which was just not my favorite book by Ray Bradbury, I'm excited to read a book that I know that I do really enjoy by him, so I am excited for that. And the other library book that I really want to read ASAP is The Last House on Needless Street. I'm so excited for this, guys. Like, so many authors that I really like have said amazing things about this book, and I mean, like Paul Tremblay, T. Kingfisher, Joe Hill, Adam Neville, Stephen King on the front. Guys, I'm so excited, like you have no idea. So this book is described as a horror thriller mystery that is just like everything in one book that I love. Yes please, thank you very much. So yeah, it's like family secrets. It's a family of 3, a teenage girl who can't leave the house, an alcoholic father, I assume it is, and a cat who likes to read the Bible. So I'm like, okay, kind of probably like a fantasy. Can the cat talk? And like, what? And it said that this book is perfect for fans of Gone Girl and The Haunting of Hill House, and I love the movie Gone Girl. I haven't read the book, but the movie was awesome. And I love The Haunting of Hill House. The book, the movie, well, the movie was better for me, but in the book, but like yes, thank you very much. So an unspeakable secret binds all 3 of them together, and they end up getting new neighbors, and they uncover some buried secrets that come back to haunt the 3 of them. It sounds so vague and intriguing. Stories like this, I feel like the less I know, the better. I'm very like, I kind of get the gist of a book, and then I go, okay, yeah, I definitely want to read that, and I don't want to know too much about it. That's just me. Sometimes I don't even know what a book is about. If I just know that I like an author, I'll just pick it up and start reading it just for fun, to see what will happen. And that's just kind of always how I've read books. I don't know, that's kind of a weird thing or something. Now, this book I had never heard of or anything. I found it thrifting, and it was only like $1.60, so I was like, yeah, okay. And I will say what made me grab it was the cover. So the Babysitters Coven, excuse me, and on the back it says that it's like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. A book after my own heart. Like, all of these books sound so good. And under the dust jacket, guys, shut up. I want to display this book, but I don't know how. Like, the cover is really cool. like underneath the dust jacket is really cool. What do? I don't know. The reviews are not like super great on this, but sometimes if I know that a book is going to be like, you know, not my favorite or might not be all that great, if I kind of go in with lower expectations, sometimes I can enjoy it better, if that makes sense. Not that this isn't going to be a good book. Sometimes I read books that have the worst ratings and I absolutely love them. Like, you know, it's to each their own. So I'm really excited. So it's how it's like Buffy is that it's like all babysitters are in a coven together and they protect the innocent. Oh, cool. I mean, that's just cool. And I mean, there's like 3 of these books, so people must like them, right? Like a few people must be into them. Yeah, I'm really excited to try this one, and I really do hope to actually get to this one for sure this month. So also, just from what it's about and the vibes of it, I'm kind of getting, if you've ever heard of the graphic novels Paper Girls, it's sort of giving me that vibe too, from just kind of a couple reviews that I read and the information on the back, and I really love those. I read all of those and they were great. So if you ever wanted to read Paper Girls, I really enjoyed all of them. So and they're very quick to read. So little side note, guys. I have been trying to read this book, well, this graphic novel, for like 2 months, right? It's so sad. It's beautiful. I love the illustrations. It's great. There's actually one illustration that I was like, oh my gosh, I have to show you guys. It was so pretty. Is that not super pretty, right? I love it. Yeah, because of the migraines and the headaches, I just really, every time I picked it up, I just couldn't. I really wanted to, but it just was not happening, unfortunately. So I do really want to finish it. I don't want to wait till next Halloween. Like, I had bought this just after last Halloween and I was like, oh my goodness, but I'll wait. And then I waited, and then of course I never really got the chance to read it. Like, ew. So I'm really hoping, I want to finish this soon. I mean, it's a graphic novel. It's not going to take long to read, so yeah. Books of Blood, volumes 4 to 6. I read 4 already and I'm halfway through 5. I had taken a break on it because I started reading it in September, and then I kind of wanted to read more specifically fall and Halloween like stories. Like, I mean, these are horror stories, so these would have been really nice to read in October as well, but again, I didn't really get a chance to do much physical reading last month, so that was a bummer. But I really want to finish Books of Blood number 5 and then work my way to number 6. I'm not huge on short stories, guys. Like, short stories are just not my favorite thing. I think I just really like to get into a nice long story that kind of gets fleshed out. You get attached to the characters, you care what happens to these specific characters. But when a book is like 50 pages, I'm just kind of like, okay, I didn't build a connection. I don't really care about these people. Do I even care about the story? Like, I want more, maybe I want it less. Like, I don't know. I've just never really been that big on short stories. The only short story collection that I did really like was I did like Different Seasons by Stephen King, but those were kind of like small novellas. Like, they're pretty fleshed out. Like, you know, like they're pretty well made, pretty well done. And I also liked, I think it was called Night Shift by Stephen King. So those were like really the only 2 short story collections that kind of, I've liked a few stories, but I just find the short stories don't really stick into my mind. Like, I read 1, 2, 3, 4, and I just need to read 5 and 6. I couldn't tell you really what any of the stories were about. They just kind of, I read them and then they're just kind of gone. But I really love Clive Barker, so I just really want to give them a try. You guys, I made my first book purchase solely based on Book Talk. I mean, I bought this for like $5 off of Facebook Market, so I mean, I didn't pay, you know, too much for it or anything, because I've heard the reviews for this are very like, wow, I hated it, this was like terrible, and then like, oh my gosh, this is great, I can't wait like to read the next one, 5 stars, all the stars, give me more. So yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued. I mean, it's a romance fantasy, which I do really like fantasy. Give me a good romance and I'm there. And I'm kind of like, I think in my mind I'm thinking it's going to be like Cruel Prince. It's not going to be like Cruel Prince, is it? I loved the Cruel Prince series. All of them. Like King of Elfhame, story, like all of them. So I thought it was time to give another like YA fantasy a go, because I never really would have thought I would like YA fantasy, but I love young adult books. Like, people try to shame you into not reading young adult books. Forget that. Read it, whatever you like. I no longer let people dictate what I'm gonna read or what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I'm really excited for that. So I'm excited to see if I like it, if I can trust Book Talk. Yeah, and then my last book is this thrifting, Heartstopper. I'm so excited. I've seen this all over BookTube maybe like a year or two ago, and it's an uncorrected proof copy, so someone around me got an uncorrected proof copy. Cool, good for them. Excited. But yeah, I've always wanted to read this and I'm so excited. And I think it's nice to have kind of like, number one, something that's going to be an incredibly like quick read. Like, guys, I mean, you know what I mean? That's definitely, I'm not a person who can really sit down and read a book in one sitting. I really wish I was. I'm not a very fast reader, but I definitely think that that could be something that's read in one sitting. I think it's gonna be nice to have something that is heartwarming in the midst of all that like horror and, you know, fantasy and stuff. Like, I think it's gonna be nice to have something to kind of break that up. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. Like, I just like to have a nice, cute, fluffy, heartwarming story, like I said, in the midst of all of the horror and audiobooks. Very soon I should have Bunny. I had listened to that audiobook before, actually. Very first audiobook that I ever listened to. I downloaded Audible, and then you get like a free book, and I was just like, oh, I'm gonna read that book. It was all over Instagram, and when you're first starting to get into audiobooks, it's kind of like, it's hard to pay attention, if that makes sense. Like, it's hard to get into it because you're not used to listening to a story. Like, I mean, you know, years and years and years of just reading physical books. Like, I've never had someone like read to me, or I've never listened to a book. I've never listened to CD books, like, ever. So it was a totally new experience for me, and I feel like it was hard, like, so it was hard for me to kind of like concentrate and comprehend. And I mean, that is a very strange book. I just want to give it a second go. Not that I didn't like it the first time. I did. It was really, really weird, really interesting. I'm seeing it on Instagram and Book Talk a little bit. This girl that I follow, she's been posting about it a lot. I'm like, oh girl, that makes me want to read it or listen to it again. I kind of almost want to actually physically read it, so I might forfeit that hold because it's from the library. So I might cancel that and physically read it sometime this month or next month. And also right now I'm listening to As Old as Time, like the Twisted Fairy Tales. It's the third one. I love anything that has to do with reimaginings of classic books, or, you know, something that you grew up on as a child and you get to see either the villain side of it or just a twist to it. I really, really liked the Aladdin one. The Aurora one, or Sleeping Beauty, kind of boring. And so far, I am quite intrigued of this third one. So I guess they're just going to be kind of hits and misses. Yeah, that is what I plan to read this month, or what I'm already kind of started on. So yeah, I hope to have a really good reading month and to physically read more. Like, it's just been pretty much nonstop audiobooks, and I do want to change that. I love physically reading, and I've really gotten into tabbing like my books and stuff, and I'm starting to possibly annotate my books, so I'm also excited for that because I've never been one to annotate my books ever. Yeah, so that's it for my November TBR. So I'm excited to see how far I get, what I read, if I end up substituting anything out, if I get through all of them. Wouldn't that be crazy? And yeah, so I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.